So what we're doing today, we're talking about understanding your purpose as a content creator. You guys know that one of the things about Taco is that we believe that every Christian content creator has a purpose. I believe as a Christian, every person has a purpose. Every believer has a purpose. Every human has a purpose. And that if we can align our purpose with what we do, align our work and our life and our relationships and whatnot with that purpose, we're going to feel more joy and more happiness and more contentedness and more excitement, and we'll feel more effective. Like, if you can kind of line up that purpose with all the stuff that you do, then suddenly things start to make sense. One of the reasons that a lot of things don't make sense to people is in their life is because they are living outside their purpose. They're either trying to live someone else's purpose, or they're trying to live exclusively for themselves, or they've been handed a purpose. You have to go do this because we've decided that, and it doesn't feel right. Maybe they're kind of good at it because they trained in it, but they're not really getting joy from it, and they don't feel like it's changing the world or doing what they want, and it doesn't match their passions, and it ends up being something that makes the money, does some stuff or whatever, but it's really not what they want to do. And if we can find that, then suddenly things just feel so much better. As a content creator, one of the things that you're not going to see online anywhere, and this is maybe you will, I've never found it, but I know that one of the things that'll happen when you type into the computer, hey, I want to find how do I be a really good content creator? How to be successful in YouTube? What you'll end up finding is a bunch of go copy other people, right? Go look on trending, go look on what's hot on Twitter, go to the YouTube channel and see what everybody else is doing and do that. Go to the top of the TikTok, feed and see what's trending there. Go there and look for what people are wondering about that, and then do that. And yes, that will get you clicks, and yes, that could even get you popular. But I believe that if you're a Christian content creator, you don't want to be popular, and you don't want to just get clicks. What you want to do is you want to know that your content is touching hearts. Your content is changing lives. Your content is altering the lives of a community, is bringing glory to God, sending God's love to other people. That is bigger. And so I think the way that you do that is for you to think through why you do what you do as a content creator. Not merely what should I do, not merely what's popular, not merely what do my audience want me to do, but actually going, okay, what should I be doing that uses my content as a bridge between me and people to be able to accomplish what God has me on earth to do? That's what we're talking about today. And you guys feel free to pause. This isn't like a podcast, so feel free to pause and ask questions and interrupt. That's totally fine. Let me just read here. It says, understanding your purpose as a content creator begins by looking at your God-given talents, gifts, and passions, not at the outside world and what they're doing or saying. Discovering who God created you to be is the foundation for discovering your unique mission in the digital world. So we're going to explore the key components that can guide you to aligning your content and your divine purpose, right? If you can figure this out, you're going to love it. You're going to love it. Now remember, no one of these questions or points or key components is going to be the be all end all, right? We're going to talk about your feelings a lot. You're going to talk about what's in your heart a lot. It's going to talk about your opinions a lot. Your what actually is drives you and gets you excited. And I mean, not that who made the joke about cake? Right? Not that Sleepy Wifey her mission isn't really cake, but it's a great example because I like it. I want to do it. It makes me feel good. It's something that I'm capable of doing myself. When I make cake, other people are happy. You know what I mean? Like it kind of go, okay, so maybe that's my purpose. It does feed a lot of those emotions, and maybe you're a baker and maybe it is. But my point is that just eating cake, probably not your life's purpose, even though it triggers one or two or three of the things that we're going to talk about. That's why I think what you should do is have a more holistic, a bigger picture of what these questions. We're going to be really, really, really practical too. So I hope by the end of this, you'll understand your purpose, or at least know how to find it. Next thing is most important. I'm not going to say this every time. It shouldn't need to be said to Christians, but I'm going to say it anyway. And it's sort of implied when it comes to the every single part of this. And that is, the most important ingredient of this is your relationship with God. talking to him about it, asking him what it is, looking into his word, engaging with the Holy Spirit, asking him to reveal to you, guide you towards, give you relationships with, or whatever it'll take, so you can understand this, that this isn't just you seeking it out and then going, hey, God, I've decided this. It's you trying to seek what God has designed you for, to have him reveal it to you. And it could take time. It could take some risk. Also, it's going to take some humility, right? Because it might not be what you want. It might not be what makes you a lot of money or makes you feel secure. It might be what, your parents or whatever might be like, man, I don't want you to do that. That's dangerous. That's scary. That's not going to get you a good retirement, et cetera, et cetera. And so you end up having to disappoint some people, or you end up having to go somewhere that is a little uncomfortable, but it's where you're supposed to be. So that's part of it too, is that having that humility to kind of go, yeah, okay, this is where God wants me. I'm going to go anyway. I'm sure he's got it. So that's going to be a result of your prayer, your maturity, your worship, your relationship with God, your willingness to talk to your pastor or your mature Christian friends. All that stuff factors in, okay? So I want to do that up front, but I want it also, like, we could talk about that the whole time, and it is true, but I want to go to a different way and talk about some things that maybe you haven't thought about. Obviously, pray about it and think about it and talk to people about it is a big one, but let's just kind of talk about the ways that you can discover your purpose. Number one, what are your natural talents? Okay, what are you naturally capable of doing? Just when you think about you and the stuff that you can do that maybe either other people can't or few people can't, or when you do it, it's good. What are those? So you identify the skills and talents that God has uniquely given you. Like, for example, are you particularly skilled at, and we're going to keep this to a Christian content creator focus, okay? So but if you're not a creator, it still matters. It's just, I'm going to use those as examples, okay? So are you skilled at gaming? Are you skilled at creating digital art? Are you skilled at entertainment or teaching? Like, when you do a thing, what comes naturally? It connects you to people. When you do it, it's easier, right? You connect to your community through it, and it's something you can do. You don't even have to think about it. It's just something you can do. For me, I can communicate pretty good. I'm fair at speaking, and so therefore, I don't really have to plan a ton. I don't have to like script it all out much. Like, I can just do it. And so giving counseling advice or things like that, I don't know. Like, there's a lot of stuff that I've trained for, but a lot of stuff just kind of happens. I'm good at it. I'm also good at what I would consider to be like leadership, right? I think just helping and organizing and doing leadershipy stuff. For you, what is it? How do you do this? So, number one, I would say consider activities that you excel at without much effort. Okay? That when you think of, okay, what are my natural talents? What do you do that's easy? What have you excelled at that doesn't require much effort? What are the tasks or roles where you just naturally thrive? Whether it be, you were put in front of kids, or you were sent out to do something difficult, or you have you were asked to do something creative, or you had to go talk to somebody or do some kind of mercy mission, or you had to travel, or there was like a big thought you had to come up with, or major planning or administration or financing, or like the thing that you were like, yeah, no, that was super easy, barely an inconvenience. All I had to do was just do it, right? And it was no problem. What are those things? One thing you can do is you can ask your friends, your family, your colleagues about the skills they notice in you. So we can fool ourselves, I'm really good at this. And other people are like, you're not really good at that, right? So what are your friends, your family, your colleagues, your church, your pastor, all these people that are in your life? What do they see in you that you might not see in yourself? Ask them, what do you think I'm good at? And they might say things that you may not even have thought of, right? But you're really good at encouraging people, or you're really good at, when you draw, it's really, really cool. Or when you tell stories, it's really exciting. Or when you explain the rules to a game, you are really good at that, right? And you might not think, you just do it, so it comes natural. But they will say that is an exceptional thing. Another thing you can do is experiment with different activities to uncover those hidden talents. So just being willing to kind of go, okay, I'll try it. I don't know if I'm necessarily music, but I'm going to go and see if I can play tambourine in a band. Or I don't know if it's children, so I'm going to go volunteer, like, to do a kids thing. I'm not totally sure if it's like, say it's content creation. We'll try to keep it there, right? Is it I'm going to try playing a game, I'm going to try variety streaming, I'm going to do scary games, I'm going to try doing, search games or story games or doing the map quest, like any of that kind of stuff. Just throw things out there and see what you're good at and what ends up really tweaking your interest. I know that there are people out there that, they played a game, and they liked them, they were fine. And it wasn't until they hit like Rocket League. They've been playing FPSs like crazy. All of a sudden they hit Rocket League and they're just good at it. It comes naturally to them. Factor that in to your content, right? Or for that matter, they just, you write a story, or you write something silly, or you write a joke, and it lands, and you're like, good gravy. I just did that for kicks and giggles, but for some reason it really connected. Check that out. For example, if you have a knack for strategy games, consider creating educational content that helps others improve their gameplay, right? Like, you get how the game works. Maybe your content can revolve around teaching people how to play, not just showing them how to play, but going, this is my thinking process. Or a digital artist might showcase speed painting sessions or tutorials on creating game art, right? Like, I'm good at drawing, but one thing I'm really good at is I don't take like 55 hours to create one piece. I can burp one out in like an hour, and it's actually not that bad. How do I do that? How do I make these pieces of art quickly? Here's how to do it. Or here's how I come up with 25 ideas quickly. Or here's, whatever it is, that you can revolve your content around that. Second, spiritual gifts. What are your primary motivational gifts? The things that make you want to do what you do, but on a spiritual level, okay? So your spiritual gifts are abilities given by the Holy Spirit to build up the body of Christ. That's what they're there for. It isn't about what you're good at. It isn't about what makes you money. It isn't about what ends up, like reaching people, a lot of viewers or whatever. It is about you and the way that you build up the body of Christ. That's how you find your spiritual gift. He gives you as a gift to the church. These can include teaching, encouragement, discernment, mercy, all kinds of stuff. So if you figure out your spiritual gift, it's going to be a big part of understanding how you're to live in this world and how you can apply it. For example, if this is how to do it. If you don't know your spiritual gift and you're like, I've never done this before, what you do is you start serving somewhere, start serving anywhere, literally just start somewhere, whether it be in a Discord or like an online church, or to, your IRL church or a food bank or like whatever. Just find somewhere, start serving. As you do that, what'll end up happening is you'll get things will start to focus. Like, for example, you'll be like, man, I'm not good at this. I don't like this. It's not working. But when I bumped into that lady, or when I bumped into that situation, or when this thing happened, that really tugged on my heart. That really pulled me towards it. I'm going to go look into that. Maybe you leave the food bank, or you leave the children's ministry, or you leave the teaching thing, or whatever you're doing, and you kind of refine and hone. It's like a bicycle, right? You finding your spiritual gift can't happen if you're stay put. Like, it's way easier to steer anything when it's already on the move, rather than trying to bunny hop your way around in one spot till you find the perfect direction. Just kind of go and just serve, and eventually you'll find your way to what you feel is your spiritual gift. And then once you've done some serving, that's when you do a spiritual gifts inventory. If you're part of a church, go ask your pastor. He'll give you one. If you're not part of a church, ask me. I'll give you one. We'll figure it out together. There's lots of them out there. There's free ones, there's expensive ones, but all of them will ask you what you've done. If you've ever taken one, every test goes, when you do this, what happens? When you go here, what happens? When you say this, what happens? And so if you haven't served, or you haven't experimented, or you've only done one thing, the spiritual gifts inventory isn't going to do much good for you, because you won't have an answer to those questions. For example, if your spiritual gift is encouragement, you could create steams that focus on uplifting viewers, offering support during gameplay, and hosting positive vibe sessions where everyone shares something they're grateful for. It's incredibly important that, especially on Twitch online, that we have people who have the spiritual gift of encouragement. And it's your spiritual gift because when you do it, it's effective for the kingdom. You do it, it's effective in that person's life. God kind of amplifies what you do to a place where it works way better than it's supposed to. For example, if you're evangelism, you go and you do evangelism, like you go talk to people about Jesus, and a lot more people understand, a lot more people get it, a lot more things happen when you do it than when other people do it. Or if it's, the gift of administration, right? When you organize things and you put things together and you've got the numbers and the charts and all the rest of that, it works way better than other people. It seems to reach more people, and people are more happy, more aligned. There's more unity. There's more hope. All that stuff is happening because you did it. That's how kind of it goes. So if you find out, like actually, my spiritual gift is encouragement. How do I make encouragement my stream? Well, you don't necessarily have to be like, okay, all the time, that's my whole stream, but it could be that a major focus of your stream is to make sure that you are uplifting people, complimenting people, offering support to people, that you don't thrive. Here's a good example, right? Say you are a great World of Warcraft, or you're great at Valorant, or you're great at, whatever. Once human now, right? Instead of you grinding and growing, you bring people onto your team who don't know what they're doing. You bring people into the world who don't know what they're doing. You help them along, and you guide them, and you tell them, this is good and you're doing this well, and this is something you can, keep up the good work. You're a valuable member of the team. And then that way you're building them up, right? Or there's a lot of people out there that have just really good vibes when you show up to their stream. They're clearly encouragers. They're clearly wonderful people, and all they do is they just play a game, but all along they have a mission. How can I make sure people are feeling hope and joy and encouraged, and feeling like I love them and God loves them? Just part of your natural arrangement, but it's going to take a purpose. You're going to have to do it on purpose. If you have the gift of teaching, you might run instructional streams where you help viewers learn new gaming skills or digital art techniques. If you have the gift of encouragement, I did that one twice. Host art critiques where you provide constructive feedback and motivate fellow artists. That's a good one, right? So you have the gift of encouragement. One of the things that ends up happening when it comes to art feedback is it tends to be negative, and artists take their stuff personally and seriously. You can create something that gives people feedback, but does it in an encouraging way. It'll be different. Number 3, inward desires. What do you really want to do? Right? That matters. When you're like, man, I wish I could do this. If in my perfect world, I'm doing this. If I had all the money and all the resources and all the whatever, this is what I'd be doing, right? That's actually part of the equation. It really is. It's like sometimes we think that God's only going to give us things we don't want to do, or things that are going to be really miserable, or things that are going to be really like you're going to have to force yourself to do, but eventually it'll feel good. Not necessarily true. It can often be very tied to things that you just kind of inherently wish you could do. It needs to be refined, because sometimes just like, I really wish I could be a content creator. That's not enough. Or I really wish I could just be super popular as a YouTuber. Okay, that's not enough. That's not really what you want to do. That's more of this is a platform that I want to be part of. I want it to be successful. But what are you successful doing? What platform, what are you there on doing on the platform? Now you've got, in your mind, you've got 1 million viewers. Why? What are you doing with them? Right? That's the question you're asking. So how do you discover your inward desires? Consider what you're truly passionate about. These often align with God's call for your life. Explore how these passions can be reflected in your content, both to fulfill and your personal and divine purposes. In other words, you are part of your factoring in of the math of what your purpose is for you to say, this gets me excited, and that's okay. I know for me as a content creator, one of the things I struggle with is gaming, right? And if I'm playing a game and I'm not having fun and I'm not enjoying it, or I'm frustrated with it, or I think it's boring or whatever, it's a slog for me. It's really difficult. I have no passion. The passion just disappears. And so therefore I don't get super excited about that. So I have to be very careful in the games that I choose, because if I'm going to be able to be excited about them, interested in them, be able to be vibrant when playing them, it has to be something that grabs onto me. And that's okay, right? You might think, well, yeah, but that's not popular, or yeah, but that's not, in the coming out new, and that's not really where things are trending. Well, when people discover you, if you are exuding passion, whether because the game you play, the art you do, conversations you have, the podcast you listen to, the topic you discuss in your podcast, when you do it, you're excited, that's what they're going to grab onto because that's something you really want to talk about. As long as you're shoehorning yourself into other people's content and other people's ideas and other people's places, then you're going to feel less passionate, less interested, because you're doing things you think you should do rather than things you want to do. So how can you do this practically? A streamer that's interested in their game is preferred. Absolutely, 10 out of 10, for sure. How can you do this? Well, write down your dreams, your aspirations, and passions. Like, write them down. Like, what do I think about a lot? What do I wish would happen? What if I had all the money in the world? If I had all the resources in the world, what would I do with them? What would be the thing that I would get done? If I had 1 million viewers, what would I want to say? If I finally got to stand in front of a crowd and I was able to give one message, what would it be? Right? If I know by the end of it, this is that I will have had a fulfilled and good life because I know that that's what I want to do. Or consider the moments when you felt truly alive, when you felt really fulfilled. What were you doing and why did it bring you joy? So for me, like, I know that preaching and teaching was something God gifted me for. It was very difficult to do. I was very sick for a decade. Like every week I was sick. But when I would give the sermon or I would preach the word or I'd teach something, as hard as that was to go through and to do, afterward, when people would say, I learned something or that, God spoke to me through that, or they repeat back to me something I said that helped them, it just made me so happy because I felt that was the reason I existed in that moment, was for them to be able to hear God. And I just get to be the kind of conduit for that. It wasn't about how scared I was to preach. It was about that later God used it. And that made me really, really excited. Right. So it's another thing for me. Like, what do I love to do? I love technology. I love messing around with tech and with computers and with learning stuff online. And I love just goofing around on things. Like, that's why I have a VTuber model or PNG tuber model. It's because I just wanted to know how that works. And what would that look like if I set one up? I'm excited by doing it. And I think that's part of why God has me here, is because I'm super interested in the tech behind streaming and in the sort of the thought process and how to make it work. And I like that stuff. And then God gives me a place where I can teach people, right? That's part of it. Example, if you have a passion for storytelling within games, create content that dives deep into game lore and narrative analysis. That's what I want to do. I like that. That's why I want to do the Game to Life series. It's not easy. I need to find time to write it. Between Taco and the pastor work and the channel and all the rest, I am way behind on the Game to Life series, but I really want to, because it makes me happy to kind of take one small thing and just expand on it. I love expositional everything. I love it. If you're passionate about mental health, integrate discussions about well-being during your streams, right? Maybe focusing on the positive effects of gaming or creative stuff. Like, for you, it's like, man, I really want people to feel better. And I know that if I can take someone who's feeling depressed, anxious, worried, stressed out, having an anxiety attack, or feels a sense, or is afraid of their environment, or feels social anxiety, or whatever it is, if I can help that person out and give them a tool, or give them encouragement and let them be the person that goes, you know what? Because of you, I went to this building for the first time. Because of you, I called my mom for the first time in years. Because of you, I finally sent that email. Because of you, I went out and got that job, because you just encouraged me to get there, right? That if that just blows your mind and makes you excited, that's part of it. That's definitely part of it. If you love storytelling through art, focus on creating narrative-driven art series, comics, right? So you're like, I love art. I'm good at art, but like, I don't want to like draw memes or whatever. I like stories. And so maybe you find yourself doodling like moments from the Harry Potter book, or you start doodling things in your devos, like alongside. It just kind of helps you process that idea. Here's a picture, or whatever. And it might be that you're like, the thing I love doing is telling a story through the art that I have. So I'm going to figure out how to do that. whether that be partner with somebody who's really good at writing, because all I know is I have a story in my head and I can't make it out into the world, or going, you know what, I'm going to figure out how to do this. And this is what I want to be able to create is a comic, art, manga, whatever, that speaks a message from my heart to people through my art. That's what I want to do. That's okay. Factor that in. Another really important thing to factor in is results and fruit, which essentially means what produces the most when you do it. Does it work? Like it's not the only factor, it is a factor. It's like, for example, in a church or in a ministry or in a group or in a whatever, when you start doing it, you're not going to get great numbers, right? When you kick it off, it's not going to be great numbers. And so you might think, well, we shouldn't have done this because it's still small. That's not true. You look at Book of Revelation, Jesus tells one of the churches, I think it's Smyrna, and he says, listen, you're really small, but you're good and I'm going to bless you. It's not about the size. The question is, as you're doing it, in generally speaking, what gives you the best results? What makes the most positive impact? These areas often indicate where your strengths lie and where God is currently using you effectively. So when you do it, it creates fruit. And the biblical concept of fruit is basically saying people's lives are affected, people end up being fed, the orphans are taken care of, the widows are taken care of, the lonely feel visited, the people who are, not clothed, they're clothed, the people who don't have spiritual understanding have more understanding, the people who feel sinful and gross now feel like they are free, the people who don't understand God, like whatever it is, like there's lots, but it's the idea that when you do it, it actually does stuff. There are a lot of content creators, I think, out there right now, because they're trying to copy someone else or because they've messed up in their own brain of what they think they're supposed to be doing. They are banging their heads against the wall of content creation. And it's not effective. It's not producing. And they feel guilty. They feel shameful. They feel like God told me to do this, or I feel like this is what I want to do and I think it could be effective. But they're like banging their heads up against this thing and it is not working. And they feel like they're the problem. And it could be that their purpose, the reason that they're doing that, isn't to create that piece of art or to produce in that way. Their passion is to change lives online. Their passion is to see art flourish. Their passion is to have amazing videos on YouTube that teach people or inspire people. Their passion is to see communities come together on Discord because of a really cool game that people all got together. Like that's their passion. And in their mind, they're like, well, then I better play the game, right? Well, then I better go to the, I better open up my channel to that thing. I better make sure I'm a YouTuber. I better start talking about that. I better start making the podcast. What if it's not that? What if your best fruit will come by partnering with someone else, right? They're a great personality. They really attract people, but you have the ability to keep people together. Your thing isn't to attract them. Your thing is to keep them united and healthy and growing and in the community. So instead of you being on stream because you can't attract anybody, it's not working, you find an attractive person that is doing a good job and you go and help their community to thrive and to grow, right? Or you see someone who's really good at YouTubing and you're like, man, you've got some skills. I'd like to come alongside you and help you. Here's some money, or can I edit for you? Or here's a list of 50 ideas, or can I provide feedback? Or can I, spread this far and wide for you kind of thing? Like my thing is I would just love to see that content thrive because it speaks to me. I think it'll speak to others. And then when you share it or you pay for something big or you help them grow in quality or you edit their video to look better, suddenly you feel just as good as if you would have done it yourself, and it's producing more fruit because you're working within your skill set and you're working within where God has you. You are meant to partner together with somebody. You are meant to be able to lift them up, right? Because that's where the fruit comes from. Think about that. Consider that when you're looking through what you're to be doing in life in general, and also as content creation. So how to put it together? Number one, look at past projects or endeavors where you saw significant impact or success. what patterns emerged and what can you learn from them, right? When you just looking back on the things that you've done and worked, what patterns emerged? You know what? When I did that, it was every time I was in a leadership position. I wanted to be creative, but they kept putting me in as the leader and other people were doing it. And that actually worked. Or it was when I was in charge of communications. You know, when I wasn't in charge of communications, things went a little screwy. But when I was in charge of making sure everybody was kind of united and the communications was happening, good gravy, everything went way better. Or when I was in charge of the planning of when it was going to be and how it was going to go and how the money was going to work, when I did that, the event was a million times better and so many more people were affected. Because when I was just trying to have fun with the kids, or when I was trying to run the games, or when I was trying to just, you know, be in the Discord, or when I was just trying to play whatever or draw whatever, it didn't work. But when I was organizing, somehow that made everything better. Just what were the patterns that emerged? Engage with your audience or community to understand what resonates most with them. Their feedback can highlight areas where you are most effective. So across your streams, across your content, across your art, across your podcast, ask the question, what have I done for you guys that like legitimately helped you or made you excited or inspired you to do something, or you keep remembering and it keeps coming up in your mind? What was that? And if you have, you know, a little community, or you have someone around that is some people around that watch, they're like, you know what? This really affected me when you said this. It was one sentence you said while doing something else, but holy moly, I've thought about that every day. And someone else goes, yeah, when you said or did this, or you know, when you talked to that person online, or you had that moment in chat, that really impacted me. That was something. You look at those and where people are really hit and where they really kind of came away from your content that it mattered. Start putting that together and go, that's where the fruit is. All the rest of it, you can trim the fat. I don't need that part of my stream. I don't need that part of my art. I don't need that part of my content. I don't need to be on Twitter or X. I don't need to be on Instagram. Everything seems to work here, right? And so I'm going to lean into that. Where do you find the fruit? For example, if your tutorial videos, if your tutorial videos and mastering a specific game consistently get high engagement, focus on that. I mean, that sounds stupid to say, right? But there's a lot of people out there that want to be variety streamers, or they want to be variety content creators, or they just have lots of interests. They're like, I really like anime, and I really like video games, and I really like, comic books, and I really like talking about political stuff, and I really like talking about like new technology, and you got all these wonderful interests, and so you're trying to throw it all at your content because you just want, I just want to share myself. But you find out really when you start looking at whether your algorithm or your metrics or any of that kind of stuff, and you're like, the only part that really hits is when I'm this, right? That's the one that hits. Just say, I can like all this other stuff, but I'm going to like it offline. My example of this is gotcha games. I love them. I think they're fun. I tried to quit and I can't. Zenless Zone Zero is just super fun. And I'm not giving it any money. I just think they're fun. You know who doesn't think it's fun? Anybody in my stream. Every time I play a gotcha game, and I've tried Genshin, I've tried Honkai, it kills my stream. Nobody likes it. So I can like it, but I don't have to like it on stream, right? It would be wrong for me to say I'm going to concentrate on Zenless Zone Zero because I think it's really, really fun, and then stop teaching, stop counseling, stop everything because I think it's fun. It's not right because it doesn't match where the fruit is, right? I see your comment, Zach. Give me one sec. For the digital artist, if your artwork gets a lot of traction and shares on social media, you might explore creating more time-lapse art sessions or collaborative projects with other artists, right? So you've thrown some stuff at the wall, and like, actually, this thing gets a lot of traction. That pulled me in. I thought it was really cool. I tried it. It worked. I'm going to try that again. And I know that's very common advice for success, and do the things that actually work and people like. Duh. But also, that's part of it, is discovering your purpose. Is the thing, when I do it, it actually works. That's part of it. Now, that it's not always perfect, right? Because, for example, Everybody knows that you can have a great skill, a great gift, and you use it wrong. For example, and this is going to sound terrible, but it's true, is singing, right? There are a lot of people out there who are great singers, wonderful artists, very entertaining, right? People are just captivated whenever they stand on stage. And they use it, all of that fruit and all of that influence and all of that affirmation and all the stuff that we've been talking about, and they point it at themselves, or they point it at something sinful or something gross or something profane or whatever. They take all of that and they point it that way. Now, if we look through this and went, oh, well, obviously it works because people like it, that doesn't mean that's your purpose. It means that people like it. So it's not, like I said, a lot of it, you got to take the whole picture in mind. Zach says, I'm working on this right now. I don't think watching social medias will help me in the direction I think God has for me. So I deleted them so I don't watch them. I use them for posting content. Now I'm focusing on what socials help me the best. Hey, ChatGPT. What socials help me the best? Yeah, I'm sort of on a similar dent right now with X. And that is, I'm trying to see if I can grow on X using the power of my ability to communicate through words. And so I'm doing what is necessary as the experiment to see if my words in text are enough to engage with people. And if they are, that's going to alter the way that I do stream. It's going to alter the way that I do content. It's going to alter the way that I release content. It's because it's going to connect differently. I'm doing some experiments with video stuff and talking stuff. We'll see just what has fruit. All right, next one. Affirmation and recognition. What do your friends and your family affirm about you? Pay attention to what others recognize and affirm about your talents. These affirmations often provide insight into your unique strengths and calling. So we've kind of talked about this a little bit, but this is more like, instead of you going, hey, what am I good at? Tell me what I'm good at. This is you processing, what do people keep praising me for? What are people like encouraging me to do? What do people pat me on the back or compliment me about? That really matters. It factors in. Like when I do this thing, people are like, cool, that's really good. Thank you for doing that. Or I really like this. I really liked it a lot. Completely unsolicited. You're not asking for feedback. It's just the thing that people tend to compliment you on a lot more. People often comment on how captivating or entertaining you are during streams and videos, or people recognize and affirm your expertise or skill in a particular area, or you receive feedback about how supportive and uplifting your presence is. Whatever it is, people are like, man, that's cool. That's you. It's your thing. And I really like that about you. Well, Joan says, I'm nice. Doesn't mean anything. Well, it means something if you can mine it out. Right? So what does that mean? That you are compassionate, that you are kind with your words, that you are servant-hearted, and that when you feel compelled to do things for people? Does it mean that you are maybe an encourager? Right? Nice has a lot of different connotations to it. It's not, you're right, that word isn't very helpful. But when you start mining it out and looking for where the fruit was, like go back to where the fruit was, what were you doing when someone called you nice? What were you in the middle of when someone called you nice? What were you producing? Or what were you trying to do? Or what were you communicating that people said, you're really nice? And if it's, I was complimenting them, or I was telling them the truth, or the way I told them the truth was in a different way that they'd heard before, and they said, you know what, that was a really nice way to say that. Mine that out. What does that mean? Right? Niche it out. Yeah, exactly. Example, if your followers comment on how how they love your community engagement, host more interactive live streams or interactive streams, right? Q&A stuff. If friends praise your design skills, consider offering art commissions or creating custom art for viewers. Like it's part of it. It's part of it is what they compliment you on. Factor that in. Number 6, passions and convictions. This is my favorite one, because it's the one that really helped me the most. So maybe you're a different one, but this is the one that helped me the most. And that is, what are you compelled to pursue? What are you compelled to pursue? What are your passions, your convictions? What are you deeply passionate about that drives you to do stuff? What are your convictions to the place where, like, this is the hill I die on? These are often areas where you're called to make an impact. I like to say this one, what makes you really angry? When you look at it and you see it, it upsets you to the point where you think something must be done about that. And let me give an example, like from my life. When I see somebody who is struggling with something that I know is a piece of knowledge that they could have that would solve their problem. So I go to someone's stream and their microphone is goofy, or I go to someone's stream and their things are a little off, or they don't know how to use whatever system, or they're doing a giveaway and they're like, I'm gonna pull a name out of a hat or whatever, and they don't know that there are better ways to do that. It makes me, it compels me, it pulls me. I want to teach them how to do that. I want them to know how to do it better. I want them to be more efficient. I want them to be more comfortable. I want them to understand that there's a better way to do that. And then when they learn how to do that, everything in their life is going to be a little bit better, like 1.01% better. And so it compels me. If I see somebody who's saying wrong things or lies, saying something that they're teaching the opposite of the truth, I'm angry. I'm infuriated, especially when it comes to theological stuff, or when it comes to trying to take a believer or take a Christian or take somebody who's on the path to becoming Christian, like a seeker, and then pointing them in the wrong direction. Right? That it infuriates me. It makes me crazy, and it compels me to do something. So what is that for you? Consider issues or causes that ignite strong emotions or convictions within you. Right? What are you passionate about changing or improving? If you could here's the question, right? If you could change one thing about the world, in a neighborhood, or internet, what would it be? And really think about that. Like, what is the one thing that you wish it would be? That they could you could change anything about the internet, your neighborhood, your group, Twitch, whatever. It would be that I wish this one thing would be fixed, or I wish they would add this one thing. I think it would really, really help. And to the point where it compels you to want to do something about it. It's such a deep conviction of yours. Maybe you're confused as to how. Maybe you don't know where to start. Maybe you have no idea what that even looks like. But you know that if it were to happen, you believe that there are a lot of people who would feel much better in this world, and you wish it would happen. Think about that. What is that? And then this next suggestion here is try different activities and observe which ones resonate with you deeply. Passion often emerges through engagement and exploration, which again goes back to the spiritual gift thing, right? You got to be somewhere. You got to be serving somewhere. You got to be doing something, right? Like how can you know if you're a community engager if you're not engaged in a community? So go be on a Discord or two. How do you know you're not, into indie games and you're about, promoting small streamers, small creators, small, indie game developers if you don't play indie games, if you're always playing the other big stuff? How do you know that you're not into team sports or into doing uniting things in collaboration if you're never doing that? How do you know you're not into drawing narrative stuff if you're always drawing pictures, singular pictures? Things like that, right? Just go and try some stuff and see what connects to you. Go and read more stuff. I think it's a great example would be that if you're in the silo of whatever your favorite news thing is, go watch the opposite news people. Right? That is like, wow, there's some stuff over here that I don't like, and there's something wrong there. Okay, why? And what are you going to do about it? Or if you're in your little niche, you're in your little bubble of where you post your art, go post it somewhere else. Go throw out a video on something else. Go seek out a different community and enter into that and just see what happens. Right? Oh, I only ever in Christian communities because I don't want to get in trouble. Right? But I feel this passion for whatever. Well, go join a non-Christian community and see what happens, right? Maybe your heart will go out. You'll see the things that trigger you. I'm upset now. Okay, why? What was said? What was done? What happened? What injustice was occurring? What negative thing happened? What insult was said? What happened there that really got you going? Which wouldn't have happened in your little Christian server. It's only going to happen in the world. Go hang out there. See what happens. Here's some examples. I just kind of pulled out. If you're passionate about indie games and want to support small developers, dedicate streams to discovering and showcasing hidden gems, right? If you feel strongly about environmental issues, incorporate discussions or charity streams focused on sustainability into your schedule, right? Like if your answer is, I wish they'd just freaking clean up the ocean, right? Like if it would just fix everything, or I wish they would move to electric cars, or I wish, like, it's just, I care about the environment because, everybody has to breathe and you can't breathe money. So that's stupid. So if that's your passion, maybe there's a way for you to incorporate it into your content. If ignorance and falsehood makes you upset, that's me. Perhaps you have a deep desire to educate others and share knowledge through your content, which I do. If you feel a sense of empathy toward outsiders and people with social struggles, you can host game nights or create a platform where your viewers can collaborate on different projects, right? You feel a heart for the lost, the lonely, the disenfranchised, disillusioned, the people that are out there and are in their room and they're just kind of in yucky things, looking at yucky stuff and acting yucky. And you're like, I really wish they wouldn't. And I want to show them God's love. I want to show them what a positive life looks like. I want to show them what it's like to be part of a community that encourages them. I want to go find them, right? Figure out how you can create a platform that attracts them and brings them in so that they can be shown that love. Number 7, fulfillment and satisfaction. What do you enjoy doing? Consider the activities that bring you joy and fulfillment. Align your content with these activities will make your work more enjoyable and sustainable, right? It's not just about fruit. It's not just about what works. It's not just about what you're interested in. It's also like, what do you enjoy doing? What do you look forward to the most? Remember, these are all big questions about how to discover your purpose. How do I find my content creation purpose? How do I find my life purpose? What do I do? So when you're in the middle of, whether it be content creation or planning or something's happening in the world, what do you look forward to? Like, man, I can't wait for freaking Christmas. Like, all year long, that's all I think about is Christmas. Or what do I look forward to doing most soon? What is the biggest thing that's coming out that I can't wait for it to happen? What am I anticipating, right? What activities make you lose track of time because you're so immersed in them? Have you ever been doing something and discovered that you were all of a sudden like super thirsty and you hadn't gone to the bathroom in a while and your eyeballs were bleary and you just realized you've completely lost track of time, right? For me, that used to happen when I wrote. Still probably does. Just start writing, and all of a sudden it's like 9 hours later and I don't know what happened and where everything is and who I am. It's just, you hit that flow. What makes you do that? What causes that to happen in you? What types of feedback or comments from your audience make you feel fulfilled? When you get a comment on your video or on your art or on your podcast or on your whatever, which one do you go, yes, woohoo, I feel really good. It makes you happy to read. Why? Right? It's kind of like Jones's nice comment. People call me nice. Okay, why? Right? Why did they say that? So in other words, why does that make you feel fulfilled? Why does that make you feel like you hit the nail on the head at some point? What do you feel most connected to your audience and community? Right? When we're all doing this together, or when they say this, when we're all part of this, or when we all raise this, man, I feel like we are like one person. It's so cool. What content have you created in the past that you're most proud of, and why? That brought you joy. When someone in my stream says, I woke up with this song in my head. There you go. Exactly. Because that speaks directly to the desire, the gift, the purpose, the motives. Exactly. Example. If you love competitive gaming, set up tournaments or rank gameplay sessions with your community. Right? You just love competitive play. If creating art relaxes you, share that experience with your viewers through chill art streams or collaborative art challenges. If you feel a strong desire to innovate and experiment, focus on creating unique art pieces that challenge conventional norms. If you're drawn to storytelling, weave narratives into your streams, whether it's through role-playing games or just sharing your personal experiences. Like, do the thing you love. Do the thing that you enjoy. Do the thing that makes you excited, that you just can't wait to do. Like, you start telling stories and you just don't stop. And you've seen streamers like this. I'm one where, like, they've got a plan and it's like, we're going to play this game, and it's in the title. It's in like the actual title, and then someone comes in, they ask a question or something happens, and they're just gone for 3 straight hours, right? sometimes they're like, really sorry we didn't play that game. I know I'm on Twitch and I'm supposed to play games, and that's what I'm supposed to do. But that was just a really good conversation. It makes me want to kind of grab them and go, maybe that's what you should be streaming. You know what I mean? It's just, and I feel the same way. Like this bipolar nature that I have of tripolar, gamer stream, teacher stream, creator coach stream. Those are 3 different things. How can I do that? Should I do that? I'm processing it right now. 8, last one. Circumstances and opportunity. What is in front of you right now is an opportunity. So this is a really important one. Because one of your arguments might be, I can't do anything because there's nothing to do. Or I want to be a professional gamer, but there are no esports areas in my life, in my area, right? That factor in what's sitting in front of you into what you think God has called you for, because he put you there. And wherever you are, your spiritual gift, your passion, your mission, your vision, your purpose in life goes with you, right? Your purpose in life isn't going to be to stream or to make videos or to draw pictures or to make podcasts. That is the medium. What your purpose will be is to help people to be more united, help people to be more encouraged, help people to be more educated, help people to be more comfortable, help people to be more kind, would help people to be less hungry, right? That's your purpose, which you can go everywhere. I could take away your computer. You can still do that. I could knock your legs out from under you, put you in a wheelchair. You can still do that. I could take you and throw you all the way to, Central Africa, and you can still do that because your purpose goes with you no matter where you are. So wherever you are, you can live out that purpose. So if your excuse is, I want to do this thing, I want to do this thing, I want to do this thing, I have no way how to do it, it's impossible, so therefore I shouldn't. Factor in the fact that whatever's in front of you could very well be the thing that will exercise your purpose. It's a part of it. So evaluate the current opportunities and circumstances in your life. These can be indicators of where God is leading you and how he wants your gifts. He wants to use your gifts right now. Or maybe it won't be perfect. This is a great example, like people changing churches. Right? What kind of church am I looking for? And they're always the same thing, right? I want to find a church that feeds me, that gives to me, that plays music I like, that has a preacher I like, that has an elder board that I like, and that has theology that I like, and that uses the Bible that I like, and plays the instruments that I like, and therefore that's what I want from a church. What if that's not where you're supposed to be? What if you were supposed to be part of a group that isn't doing things quite right? I'm not saying go find bad theology. I'm saying like people, they don't have a good band, and they don't have a good preacher, and they don't have a good organization, and they don't have a good building, and they don't have a good, whatever. And you go there because the opportunity is for you to utilize your purpose, your reason for being in that area. And you're going to have lots of time to do that. For that matter, maybe, and this might be weird, but consider maybe your platform isn't the right platform. Maybe you're not supposed to be on Twitch. Maybe you're not supposed to be on YouTube. But there are lots of places out there that you could be. Maybe it's not about being on Twitter. Like, it's, say for example, you're like, man, I'm on Twitch and it's always the same thing, and that's where I'm going, and it doesn't work. Well, Twitter, just is trying to emphasize doing live streams. What if you were there? What if that's the opportunity in front of you? Or for that matter, there's Odyssey, or there's Rumble, or there's a million other things. Much appreciated.
Thank you for the sub. Tool just resubbed.
6-month streak, yo. Thank you. Thank you very kindly. Appreciate you, Ferric. So here's some examples, right? Hey man, thanks, Susie. I really appreciate you too. Thank you for saying that. Much appreciated. That's very cool. You can put it anywhere and you give it to me, and that's really nice of you. Okay, so how does the circumstances and opportunity? Here's some questions. Just ask yourself. I think I'm gonna put this into an article so that you can have all of these questions, because I've probably asked you about 50 of them over the course of this talk. And so I'm going to put this into an article. I'm going to attach this video or the highlight or whatever to it so that you can kind of go through it again. But then you can ask yourself these questions. Uh, I do have a newsletter. If you want this to come to you, go sign up for the newsletter, !web. That's my website. You can just sign up right there. Hit the button, you're signed up. And if you do that, this month or in the last week here, I'm going to be giving out free $10 gift card to somebody who's on the newsletter list. Okay, so here's some questions. Number one, what's happening in your life right now? Are you moving? Is it a new school year? Is it you having particular struggles? Are you traveling? Do you have a new job? Are you looking for a new job? That you might think, oh, that's dumb. Like that's just my offline life. I'm doing, I'm looking for a job. And my online life is me playing a game. My online life is me drawing something. My online life is me, doing whatever. Maybe your purpose can be included in connecting what you're doing and where you are and what's happening right now to the community that you're trying to grow, or the people the message you're trying to give. Like you want to encourage people. Say you're an encourager. Say that's you do chill streams or whatever, and you're like, but I'm looking for a job. Your message and the way that you navigate how you look for a job with contentment. I'm immediately think of Empress Chronicle right now, right? Because she's facing this. She's going through looking for a job, trying to find something, and doing it in a way that is contented and seeking and trusting. That life thing is allowing her to demonstrate what she believes is her purpose, which is to bring people to a place where they feel loved and safe. And she can do that by using her job or her job search. What in your life is happening right now that you can exercise your purpose in? Or what is in front of you that you could experiment with to discover your purpose? What game is coming out soon? What huge software update or DLC has recently released? What art expositions or competitions can you participate in? Just do stuff, right? For me, like I learned a lot when I downloaded Starfield. I learned I hate that game. I learned that some games just suck right out the box and that they are never going to get any better. I learned that the hype cannot match what is going to happen, and I will never buy another Bethesda game as long as I live. That is that kind of game. It's just not going to happen. I learned a lot through that, but it was a brand new game that showed up that I thought was going to be big and paid, someone bought me like the super ultra pack, $100. And I'm like, and it was just the worst. I learned, and I learned, it helped me refine my vision, helped me refine my stream, helped me refine my reason for being here. It wasn't good. What do you know that you can collaborate? Who do you know that you can collaborate with right now? For example, if you want to trying to figure out your purpose, why you do what you do, and you're like, oh, I wish I could collaborate with insert big name here. What if you don't do that? What if you look at the people that are your size or that are your friends or live in your area or whatever, and you're like, those are the people. I'm just going to collaborate with them and see what happens. You'll learn something about yourself, something about how you connect with people. You'll learn something about your stream. Like it will help. Hello, Redeem J. Good to see you. Just moved, kids getting into new school, looking for a new job. I have all of those. And I guess the question is, how are you? What are you learning about yourself, your life's purpose, right? You're through that. Because I know that you've been Redeem J is actually an interesting case because he's been kind of all over the map when it comes to where am I supposed to work and what am I supposed to do and what am I supposed to stream and what is my content and what does this have to do with my family and my kids and my health and my truck, like what does that have to do with all this stuff? And I'd imagine that has helped you, and maybe it's not, but I imagine it's helped you to refine who you are, what you're doing, and why you exist. Is that true, Redeem J? What topics, challenges, memes, or events are happening right now that will resonate with your audience? What conventions, big or small, are happening near you? Maybe you're not going to go to, PAX. They're going to go to PAX, but maybe there's like a little anime expo next to you, a little comic book convention in your small town, whatever it is. And that's like, I want to go there and see what happens. I want to go participate in it. I want to go and volunteer. I want to go put up a booth, like what's near you that you can work with. You don't have to wait until the big thing or whatever you think is like this huge vision. Just look at the thing around you, right? The community that you have, the Discord you have. Okay, there's something that reminds me. So many people starting a Discord, so many streamers. I have a Discord. Come to my Discord, do nothing with it. Wonder why their community is not growing, why it's not uniting, why their purpose isn't happening, why their vision isn't, coming to fruition, and they're not actually putting work into their Discord. Oh, they start with, I want to be a safe environment where I can gather people so that I can show them God's love. And then they go, come to my Discord. And then they open up a Discord. The people come to the Discord and it's dead. Right? Why? Because you're waiting for the big day. You're waiting for something awesome to happen. You're waiting for your Discord to have 1,000 people. Then you'll start working on it. Might I suggest that you work with the people that you have now, the audience you have now, the Discord that you have now, and do in it what you would be doing for the 10,000 people in the future, right? Give them the love, give them the attention, give them the messages, give them the encouragement that you would give, right? Don't wait, because it's sitting in front of you right now. What training or mentorship opportunities can you take part in? Like, oh, I'm waiting for whatever. I can't wait till a book is done. I can't wait, whatever. Like, what's happening now? Is your pastor going through a series you might help? Is there something in town or the local university where they're teaching how to use whatever better? Like, what's literally in front of you? Not waiting for some future thing or waiting for some distant thing or waiting for some big thing. What's right in front of you that you can use, experiment with, go into, that if you participate in, might actually help you discover more about yourself, more about your purpose. Okay? I don't need to read that one. We just did it. So that's that. That's the end. I'm going to go through them one more time. And then, not do the whole thing, but I'm going to read them again so you can hear them all. And then we're going to, we'll do a Q&A. Love the quote from missionary Roland Allen in 1933. I do not trust spectacular things. Give me the seed growing secretly every time. Amen to that. Amen to that. We're all fascinated by the spectacular and the shiny, but the truth is that God works in the mustard seed. How many times did Jesus have to say, my kingdom is like a mustard seed. My kingdom is like a lost coin. My kingdom is like the things you don't look at, man. That's where I'm working. Hello, Xanadu. Good to see you. Thanks for being here. All right. Understanding your purpose. Number one, look at your natural talents. What can you do naturally? What abilities do you naturally possess? Number two, what are your primary motivational gifts? What is the Holy Spirit given you because you're saved that you can do for the body of Christ? Number three, what are your inward desires? What do you actually want to do? What are you like, man, I really wish I could do that? What's your, what do you aspire to? What are your dreams? Number four, results and fruit. What produces the most when you do it? What actually works? Even if you don't like doing it, even if you're like, man, I'm not sure about that. When you do it, when it actually happens, that's pretty cool. Affirmation and recognition. What do people tell you and compliment you on and tell you that you're doing a good job and praise you for? Right? What do they tell you unsolicited? Instead of asking them, what do they tell you? Number six, passion and convictions. What gets you upset? What gets you angry? What compels you? What makes you convicted? What goes, I gotta go, that ignites strong emotions in you? What are those things? Number seven, fulfillment and satisfaction. What do you enjoy doing? What do you like? Man, I love doing this. It's so great. I get lost in it sometimes. Number eight, circumstances and opportunities. What is in front of you right now that you can do right now? Go do it. And maybe it'll teach you something about your purpose. That's the talk for today. I'll pop it up on the newsletter. We'll put out the video and whatnot, and hopefully it'll help you out. Let's do a reflection. Let's talk about this a little bit. I want to hear from you guys, what you have to say, whether you've learned your purpose, you're looking for your purpose. Did any of this be like, yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing that got me. I'd love to learn more. Let me pray, and then I'm going to read Redeem Jay's comment.